You're watching Sky News at 11 o'clock this Christmas Day. The headlines this hour. A tradition renewed. The royal family attend the Christmas Day church service as King Charles uses his first Christmas message to pay tribute to Queen Elizabeth.
My mother's belief in the power of that light was an essential part of her faith in God, but also her faith in people.
Also tonight, police appeal for witnesses in the hunt for a suspect in a pub shooting in the Wirral, which left a 26-year-old woman dead and a man in a critical condition. 4 major aid groups suspend their operations in Afghanistan after a Taliban ban on women workers. Some Ukrainians broke tradition to celebrate Christmas today, as Vladimir Putin claims that he is ready to negotiate with Ukraine. The Pope has called for an end to the senseless, in his words, Ukrainian war in his Christmas Day sermon from the Vatican. And do stay put, we'll have a full look at the front pages in the press preview at past. Evening all, and a very Merry Christmas. King Charles has paid tribute to his late mother in his first Christmas message and thanked the public for their condolences. The new monarch used his broadcast to highlight the plight of families struggling with the demands of the cost of living crisis, striking a more directly political tone than the Queen. Well, earlier, the royal family were greeted by well-wishers as they attended church at Sandringham, their first Christmas together at the estate in 3 years. Sky's royal correspondent Laura Bundock was there.
So much has changed for them, but some things stay the same. The royal Christmas Day routine. A family service at Sandringham, but with one much-loved member missing. And the King paying tribute to the late Queen in his first message as monarch.
I'm reminded of the deeply touching letters, cards and messages which so many of you have sent my wife and myself. And I cannot thank you enough for the love and sympathy you have shown our whole family. Christmas is a particularly poignant time for all of us who have lost loved ones. We feel their absence at every familiar turn of the season and remember them in each cherished tradition.
Poignantly filmed at St George's Chapel, Windsor, the Queen's final resting place. It is the first ever televised message from a king. And he uses it to delve more deeply, reflecting on the difficulties people are facing.
At this time of great anxiety and hardship, be it for those around the world facing conflict, famine or natural disaster, or for those at home finding ways to pay their bills and keep their families fed and warm.
His tone determined, his message more direct than his late mother's.
I particularly want to pay tribute to all those wonderfully kind people who so generously give food or donations, or that most precious commodity of all, their time, to support those around them in greatest need.
Back at Sandringham, the King led his family out of church, with younger royals stepping up to support him, including Prince Louis making his debut here. A crowd pleaser for the fans who'd queued for hours.
It's amazing, especially seeing Louis for the first time. It's just amazing. It's made my day, really, made my year now.
Oh my God, it was amazing. Like, we didn't expect to be able to talk to him, and like my kids, you know, both got to see him as well. And, you know, this is a great bit of history for us.
And trailing behind, a surprise appearance from Prince Andrew, so rarely seen or heard in public.
He seemed all right.
What are your thoughts on him? Should he go back to the royal family as a working royal?
Yeah, I think he should. I think it's been served, hasn't it? It's been done. I think you can't not move on.
The Roth family had travelled all the way from Gateshead.
We made the special effort to come this year because it's King Charles's first one as monarch, and obviously that's got special significance.
This is the first family Christmas at Sandringham for 3 years, a period that has seen seismic shifts. And it is a chance now, gathering here for the King to try and show unity and continuity. It was a big turnout for both family and fans. Another milestone marked as the royal family remembers the past and plans a path for the future. Laura Bundock, Sky News, Sandringham.
Police say a 26-year-old woman killed in a pub shooting on Christmas Eve was shot in the head and was not believed to have been deliberately targeted. 4 men were hurt during the incident at the Lighthouse in Wolsey Village on Merseyside. Sky's Inzamam Rashid reports.
Bottles and glasses untouched, TVs still switched on. The Lighthouse Inn is now a crime scene of a brutal murder. Like normal on Christmas Eve, this pub on the Wirral was incredibly busy, but the party atmosphere was last night punctuated by gunfire.
Is that a gun?
The sound of at least 8 shots was picked up by this woman sat in a car on the road outside the pub. She'd been inside only moments ago. But it was a 26-year-old woman innocently celebrating with her sister and friends who was shot in the head in what police have described as a callous and cold-blooded murder.
The fact that this has happened on Christmas Eve makes the tragedy even more unpalatable and shows those responsible have no regard for members of the public who just want to be able to live their lives without fear. At the time the offender fired the gun, there were a large number of people enjoying a night out at the Lighthouse Inn, and the actions of the gunman were totally and utterly reckless.
The gunshots injured 4 others. A 28-year-old man is tonight in a critical condition.
It's very early stages of the investigation, but we do not believe that the victim in this case has been targeted.
As people were celebrating and enjoying themselves, police believe the gunman fired several shots towards the entrance of the pub. Minutes later, a dark-coloured Mercedes was seen leaving the car park. They now want to speak to that male and vowed they won't rest until they find who's responsible. The pub's owners said this is a tragedy beyond words. It left many living nearby in shock and terrified on what was meant to be a day of celebration.
What sounded like gunshots, and it was rapid fire, probably one after the other, maybe 6 or 7 shots. And then eventually we heard sirens and we knew then something bad had happened. It's just, your heart sinks, doesn't it? I mean, a young person just losing their life like that and others injured, you know, it's hard to describe really because it's on your doorstep. It's closer to you almost, you know, and I think that's the thing. You know, we've got family coming for Christmas Day today and this has really blackened the day.
As a manhunt was launched, forensic teams spent hours collecting evidence to establish what exactly happened here. The police presence across Wallasey remains significant, and it's unlikely to lessen until they catch the person responsible. Inzamam Rashid, Sky News, the Wirral.
Vladimir Putin has said that Russia is ready to negotiate with what he called some acceptable outcomes with Ukraine. But he also claimed that it was Ukraine who was refusing to talk. Well, in the country itself, facing its 10th month under attack from Russia, some have chosen to break with tradition and celebrate Christmas today. Now, they'd normally mark the festival on January the 7th, when Russians celebrate Christmas. But many feel that changing the date represents a separation from Russian culture and religion. Ukraine remains under fire, mainly in the east of the country, where the Russians' only front remains. Air raid sirens continue to sound across many regions, including the capital, where thousands still have no access to water or running power. Sky's Yusra El-Bagir reports now from Kyiv.
Breaking from Russian tradition. Some Ukrainians are celebrating Christmas with the Western world. Parishes all over the country have been given the choice to mark the 25th of December. A symbol of the solidarity felt since February.
І ми зараз пропонуємо святкувати в Україні Різдво з 25 грудня по 7 січня. Це наша мрія багато років. Ми тут на території Софії робили просвітницькі події в цей день. А зараз ми вже маємо реалізувати власну мрію і святкувати Різдво з усім християнським світом.
The air raid sirens have gone off, but the priestess continued to hold service and people are still coming in and out. This year, the prayers are charged. Combat medic Miroslav has come from the front line. He's jotting down the names of all those he wants the church to pray for. His list is long.
Я подав записочку за упокій і за здоров'я моїх рідних, близьких, за воїнів української армії, за всіх українців.
For those on the front line, the festivities are a much-needed break.
Millions of Ukrainians are still separated because of the war, but it's Christmas time and families all over the country are coming together to celebrate.
Lysia Vasilenko's children hadn't seen their grandparents since the start of the war. As a parliamentarian, she's vulnerable to assassination and sent her children to the UK for their safety. Her youngest was just 8 months old when they fled.
It's not just being away from the infant, but my other daughter is 7, my son is 9. Each one of them needs their mother, and all of that is missing from their life and it's missing from my life. And of course, it's leaving scars. It's leaving scars which will become apparent in years to come.
Scars temporarily soothed by Christmas warmth.
This fatigue is what Russia is good at playing at. And we have no right, no moral right, not in Ukraine, not anywhere else, to get tired of this.
A day to rejoice as family, but a bitter reminder of what is still at stake. Yusra al-Baqir, Sky News, Kyiv.
The Qatari government has expressed extreme concern following a decision by Afghanistan's Taliban rulers to ban women from working at non-governmental organisations. 4 major international aid groups have now suspended their operations in the country, saying that they cannot effectively reach children, women and men in desperate need without the women in their workforces. The Qataris have previously acted as a key mediator between the West and the Taliban. Sky's Sadia Chowdhury has been taking a closer look.
A new year around the corner, but for Afghans, it must feel like going back in time. The Taliban's ban on women working at NGOs is another backward step